Mm. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Troy Rawlings here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Meet the. And today, I get a chance to talk to the man. Used to be known as Zoe the Motivator. You can find him as Mogul Zoe. He's if we ever needed the Zoe before, we sure do need him now. Sure do need him. All right, enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, LORENZO MURPHY JR, aka Zoe the Motivator. What's going on, young man?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for
having me.
I'm
good, man. I'm good. We've been talking about doing this for a little bit. I wanted to talk to you when you were going in. I think you were going in Morehouse. You're Morehouse grad now.
Mm-hmm. That's 2018.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
Morehouse grad. Amazing artist. People may remember you from just giving thorough motivation, some God-centered, some cultural, you were just continuously motivation. I was telling you, I used to get text messages, motivation text messages. And I was like, man, hey, man, this is motivation text message. Let me see what's going on with young man. And I just saw you just celebrated your 25th?
26. I just turned 26 on June 15th.
Happy birthday, man. We usually wouldn't date these folks, but we are in a historic time in history. We are in June 2020. 2020 will go down in history as it was the pandemic into an uprising. And I believe the first time in my history, I remember, closest thing I can remember to it was probably the push to abolish apartheid. But for people around the world to start saying Black Lives Matter and everything that's going on, I thought it was only right to get in touch with this young man.
Indeed.
Who has continuously been, well, first off, let's jump right in. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Compton, California.
Compton. So, Compton, California. What made you want to get into motivating people? When did you know you had a voice and you just had a different perspective on life? Because it seems like from Compton, California, you have people from Compton, California that are well-known business people, and you have people from Compton, California went the other way. So it's just like anywhere. I'm from Baltimore, so it's the same scenario. So what made you go the direction you went in life?
Well, I say it was a few things. I used to get in trouble as a kid because I was that kid that talked a lot, that was very outspoken. And as I became older, what I used to get in trouble for is what I became noticed for. So what got me truthfully started was as in Zoe the Motivator or just in general, like overall?
Well, I say overall because the Zoe the Motivator might have been a moniker or a name that you came up with later on.
So
but what
Zoe the Motivator, the moniker, I would say that came through one of the toughest times of my journey. I had already been if you know me growing up, or if you knew me, you always knew I was somebody that tried to encourage others. That's always been who I was and am. I would say post high school, get to junior college, I started to do it a lot more in my community and at my school. And social media and Instagram allowed us to do 15-second videos. So I was doing them as therapy for myself, as a way to express myself. Because at the time, basketball had faded away. I thought I was going to go to college for basketball. That didn't happen. And I just needed a way to express myself. I had a lot of great mentors. I had a lot of community figures that spoke life into me and told me that I had capabilities beyond the environment I grew up in. So I would say it was something that was embedded in me. I come from a great household. My mother and my sister always spoke life into me, and I feel like we're blessed to be blessings to others. So I always wanted to find a way to help others, although I may have been in pain myself. So I never thought it would be here. I never thought that I'd do the things that I'm doing. My goal was just to heal and find a way I found it as a way of therapy for me. motivating others made me happy. And when you do things that make you happy, it take you to places you never imagined. So that's where I am. I'm here today.
So you're healing, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because we're in a time where I won't say mental health is celebrated, but we talk about it more. I had a father that, I realized most of the things that stagnated him in life was the fact that he fought so much with depression. Disappointing things to other people when they may be like, get over it, hit him hard. And when did you know, or I guess when was the first time that you saw you speaking into someone's life made you feel better about what was wrong? Or when did you put the connection to the two? Because sometimes people are just boisterous and outspoken, and then when you sit down with them, in the comedy world, doing comedy and stuff for years, they on stage, they live, they go backstage, and this person is depressing everybody. You're like, oh, what happened? So when did you know that was something that actually made you feel better versus a show for other people?
I can't recall a specific moment, but I always felt in my spirit that this is something I was supposed to be doing. I will also say, I know often that when somebody speaks against what I'm doing negatively, I also know it's an indication that I'm going in the right direction. So during the time I will motivate others and pour into others, there will also be adversity from people saying I shouldn't be doing this, or I'm a quote unquote, these are the exact words. I remember as a guy in my community, I would always be encouraging my counterparts that were gang members to choose a better lifestyle or choose a better path, because I saw the path of destruction they were going down. On the flip side of that, I had somebody tell me while encouraging my homies, they told me, nigga, you a preacher ass nigga. And I was like, that hurt my feelings, but it was like, dang, I saw that I was able to connect with the people in my community. And then I saw with where I am in my life now, how I've impacted and helped change somebody else's perspective. Like, I'm kind of weird. So usually negative things encourage me. Not even negative things, but like I said before, like usually when people pushed against what I was doing positively, it was to me an indication that I was going in the right direction and doing the right thing, and that it was not normal. So
it's something where it lights a fire under you, and it says, okay, this is where I'm supposed to just lighten my fire, and I'm supposed to put a fire out that may destroy something over here. So It's like I call it being like it's how I take fatherhood. It's like being on you're a doctor on call. You're a righteous police officer or a firefighter on call. So you're doing your thing in the community. People in the community are noticing you. You're in junior college. You were in basketball. So how did you, and you were looking, what maybe at UCLA, were you looking locally, or are you looking at different schools that you wanted to play ball and it just wasn't happening? High
school, I was being recruited by, I had conversations with Harvard. According to my coach, I was being recruited by Northridge, the Navy, Harvard. I was looked at by UCLA. I was looked at. This is what he told me. So that never manifested. I applied to Morehouse after my senior year of college. I got denied. Decided to go to junior college. Didn't really want to play basketball anymore. Spent 3 years in junior college trying out for basketball teams. I got cut from about 3 basketball teams. And then I ended up playing my third year junior college. And that was also the year I reapplied to Morehouse College while building my brand as Zoda Motivator. And played basketball, built my brand as Zoda Motivator, got accepted to Morehouse, took off as Zoda Motivator, went to Morehouse, got a scholarship, thank God for my brother Tyrese, to pay off my first year of college, to try out for the basketball team at Morehouse. to make the basketball team and then decide I don't want to do this anymore. I want to focus on building my brand. And
now you said something. I haven't been to college yet. I say yet because
right.
I do want to get a psych degree. And I'm 45. So. But here's the thing. You applied to Morehouse, got denied, and reapplied and got in.
Yeah.
And I haven't. That's some. I think the last time I heard a story like that was probably Willie Gary went to Shaw University, and how he had to fight to get. He wanted to play football. He had to fight to get onto the the whole thing with Shaw University.
Right.
And it's one of their biggest benefactors now. So what made you reapply?
Morehouse
I've never heard somebody that got denied from a college reapply to that same college.
So Morehouse had always been my dream school. Like Morehouse and UCLA. I had a few mentors that went to Morehouse, and I was so fixated on Morehouse. When I got denied, I used it. I used that as motivation to like. I'm like, I know this is where I'm supposed to be again. I'm not gonna give up just because I was denied the first time. Sometimes the no means not right now. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't mature enough to go post high school. So I knew that this is where I was supposed to be, and that if I gave it another shot, I would get in. I just believed in myself enough. I feel like everything happens for a reason. During that time of not only me being denied, but that 3 years of junior college and reapplying, I not only built a brand out of that changed my life forever, but I grew as a person. I grew in my relationship with God. I felt more cultivated and more prepared for where God was taking me. I feel like everything I was going through post that denial to Morehouse, everything in between that, I went through it to prepare me for the moments that I would have to stand as an established brand to speak to people and to encourage people. Like those 3 years gave me the substance I needed to be able to speak life into others. So I'm grateful for the denial, because the denial was not a no. It wasn't it wasn't a no. It wasn't a deterring to me. It was a not right now. I'm still working on you. And oftentimes when people face denial or no or rejection, they give up. They get discouraged. But oftentimes it's like, it's just not the time for you right now. If you just trust God's time, and eventually, things will realign itself. Things come full circle. So because that was my goal, that was my vision, that was my dream, I stuck to it, and I stayed encouraged, and I did everything I needed to take. I took every step I needed to take to accomplish my dream. And
your faith seems to be the magnified. It's a very magnified foundation for you. You're not shy about faith. What things early off? Because some people, you can tell some people their faith is before them because of something that's been indoctrinated. But you then can tell some people that they've had an experience where they've had a relationship with God. And that relationship turns into something that, it becomes biblical proportions. It's like David and Moses and people like that. What was the point where you said, I know God got me no matter what? What situation in your life brought you to the road where you and God were like, y'all boys, y'all rocking, to the point where no matter what, as long as I stay with God, I'm good?
I didn't always believe in God. God blessed me to be able to see examples of people that come from the same environments that I come from. And their example showed me what it meant to really truly be a believer. think the point for me wasn't a specific situation. It was me making a decision to have faith. And having faith is believing in things you can't see. And that was what that was for me. I grew up in an environment where it was infested by gang violence, drugs. I saw people, I know a lot of people that I grew up with died, and I know a lot of people that grew up in the environment I grew up in. And I know I'm being long-winded, but I'm processing this answer because it was so many things. But like growing up in Compton and seeing what I saw, witnessing what I witnessed, and surviving it helped me realize like there was a higher being protecting me throughout that process. There's no way that I survived and avoided things that my best friends didn't avoid. There are people right now that I grew up with that are dead, incarcerated. 15 years old, I'm losing my best friends to the streets. Or, you know, it's real situations. I went through real problems. Molested as a kid, father not being in my life. So many just different obstacles. Going through real problems, I needed a real God. I needed a real foundation. And for me, I found that through Jesus Christ. So that was long-winded, but as I processed
No, it wasn't.
As I processed this answer,
it was a perfect definition. Because you can see your mind working through each and every step, because that's how it is. It's not, people think it's like this. Once you get on the path and he was like, all right, me and God, we rocking and rolling. And it's like, me and God is like, where you going? What's happening? What's wrong? What's going on?
Right, yeah.
and it brings now.
Yeah. And I'm grateful. Specifically, it was a guy by the name of James Derrick that he was a former gang member of my community, and he transitioned from the streets to professional dancing. His name is B-Dash now. He took me to church. First person to take me to church, and first time I ever felt what it was to worship and cry out to God and repent and ask for forgiveness. And I credit him because he not only took me to church, but he read the Bible with me, taught me about the word, and was also a living example that I could go to every day to ask questions and to look up to, you know, as I was a baby in Christ and trying to understand what I believe. So I credit him a lot. James Derrick, B-Dash. And yeah.
So that's key. I wanted to, I'm getting those foundational things together because I know it's not only younger people watching this, and hopefully if you're a parent and you're checking this out, this is definitely an episode you want your kids to see, because like Zoe said, he came from an environment, Compton, California, where at 15, watch his best friend die. All the things that in his life, he's experienced the things that we call traumatic incidents for any of us we've been through. So you've been through those. You stay motivated, and you find that motivating yourself, because in your walk, you've been very transparent. You know, if you were going through something hard, you say what you were going through hard and then give a motivational tip. If you, after you graduate, you know, you finishing up Morehouse and you working in the market, and you're like, look, y'all, this ain't where I planned on being. But you know what? If I'm up in here, next thing I know, you doing video, you doing movies with the staff, like,
you got to make the best out of your situation.
And are you still in Atlanta now?
Yes.
So you're in Atlanta, California. Fast forward a bit. And what's your degree in from Morgan?
Film and television.
Film and television degree. And while you were in there, was this pre Morehouse or after when you did your first did a movie project?
Well, I did 3 movie projects, but actually 4. But it was pre and post.
Okay. Because I remember the first one, and I saw the other 2 you were working on. I saw the interviews you were doing when you got a chance to talk to, I think it was Denzel
Yep.
And right after the fences, it was a
Yep.
fences interview. They called you up.
Yeah.
You asked a good question about everything that's going on. But so graduated, got your film. What is Zoe doing now? What at this point in time, and after this we'll talk a little bit about what's going on around you now. What drives you the most now? What's the thing that you're most passionate about accomplishing now?
Establishing myself not only as an artist but as a business entrepreneur. I'm positioning myself to be a husband. I know that's pretty odd for my age, but my life is pretty my life my life is pretty simple. I want to go where I'm welcomed. I want to go where I'm happy most. As of right now, I've been working on 2 music projects. I've been working on some business moves for my music. And truthfully, that has been it. It's been that. I've been doing DoorDash and Postmates to stay afloat. I lost my job actually before the pandemic, so I've been like delivering food just to stay afloat. And yeah, it's just been me and me been building. I've been building with my girlfriend and just looking to take those necessary steps. Been building my faith. Started a nonprofit with my mentor for foster youth in Atlanta called UP3. And truthfully, that is my life. Just dedicating my life to the youth, building with my lady, and making music. And that's truthfully it. And of course, planning for the future, planning ideas and this and that. But really, it's man, I'm just using this time to just heal, to process what's going on. Like you said, we're living in different times, so I'm not so much making this time about myself. I have my creative projects that I'm doing, but my biggest focus has been not only what I told you before, but figuring out what the solutions could be for not only Black people, but my generation moving forward. It's obvious what's going on in the world with the police brutality and injustices that's going on in our community. And truthfully, this is the first time I've ever felt connected to it. I'm from the West Coast, so I grew up in a multicultural environment where I never really experienced racism. I've experienced prejudice growing up in my community. I experienced a lot of Black on Black crime, but this is my first time of moving to the South, where I actually feel what it means to be not only just Black, but I feel it. I understand. Dang, that could be me. I saw a video during the protest where a Spelman and a Morehouse student that I knew were attacked by the police officers, and I know them, and it was like, or I knew them from school, or saw them at school, and it was like, dang, that could have been me and my lady. I'm now processing and being a part of conversations that push this narrative forward in a positive way, so that this cycle of racism and injustice ends in our community, and so our youth don't have to experience what we've experienced and what the generations before us have experienced. So overall, that's where my mind is been.
No, there's a lot of, obviously it's very heavy. Being a person of faith, of course, we talk about prayer and things like that, but we recognize when there's times of straight up activism. So, your projects have always been about uplifting the spirit, uplifting so people believe in themselves. What has been the pulse down there in Atlanta that you've kind of felt firsthand?
People are angry. People are emotional. There are different kind of people that feel different kind of emotions, that want to handle things differently. The pulse, I feel, we're at a point where everybody is driven to find solutions, driven to be a part of change. driven to make this their purpose, not wanting to miss out on being a part of and contributing to the solution. While on the other hand, there are people that are still self-centered and don't really care too much about what's going on. They're just trying to survive, or they're focused on their own thing. So I've been looking at it from I'm like an overall perspective type of person. I can't just tell you the post of one person, because I've had conversations with many people about what's going on, and each person is contributing in a different way. So optimistically, and from what I've observed, people are looking. The post is going. Like, everybody is thriving, especially with the pandemic we're in. I feel this pandemic is of course, it's an unfortunate situation that has taken place, but this is the first time people are truly able to process what's going on. We're forced to be home. We're forced to, I'll say it like this. With every other pandemic that's taken place, or every other injustice or death of a Black person in the community, people have had to cry and mourn, and it's been a trend that's been created. Because of this pandemic, this is not going to be a trend, but I feel a legacy. Because like in the past, when this was a trend, people would mourn for, I said, 1 week or 2 weeks, everybody would post and Black Lives Matter, and then have to go back to work and go right back to their lives of survival. Now you're forced, because of a pandemic, to deal with the issues not only within yourself, but within the Black community. Whether you're working in corporate, whether you're in ministry, whether you're a husband or wife, whether you're a family, like, you're forced to see what's going on. So
yes,
this is great. I feel, as I say, I like to turn the negatives into the positives. Like, everybody is forced to, if not know a solution, be a part of one, contribute to one. So, yeah.
It's I tell people in the last 5 or 6 interviews, I'm like, the best of times is the worst of times.
Mm-hmm.
Because
gotta get worse.
Gotta
get worse before it get better.
Yeah, and the fact that, it's, if you see this happening and you don't believe there's a God, it's almost too well orchestrated. Right when people are, it's like, you have to rest. You have to, because we're from the society in America now is 7-day work week. Mm-hmm. You have to rest. You have to take Sabbath. You have to be with your family. You have to chill out. You have to think. You have to, and it's over. Okay, we can get out. No. Let me, since everybody's on one accord now, because the billionaires and the poor person were scared.
The great equalizer.
Pandemic. So all of a sudden, everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody's home, and across their screens, across their kids' phones, across our TV, Ahmad, Brianna, George. And George was a short film from beginning to end. And the very thing that they used to celebrate doing public lynchings is the very thing that the sword that they dwell and they roll with is the sword that is breaking that system apart.
I'm gonna tell you this. The United States was founded on Christian principles. What you reap what you sow. And God is only gonna let you get so far. I feel like because America was founded on these principles of Christian principles, they're not only, like you said, they're faced with the cruelty that they've applied to other indigenous people. They are. I'm gonna just jump to the solution. Because you have founded this world, this space, America, on Christian principles. When you make mistakes as a Christian, the biggest thing that you can do is apologize, not only to the people amongst that you've hurt, but also repent. Repentance is you asking for forgiveness and turning away from what you've done to others.
Total change.
Total change. If you really want to truly help us, if you really want to truly help or be a part of change, you must be willing to repent and turn away from what you've done.
Right. Right.
Or you're going to face the wrath that you've created foundationally and throughout. So
Dave Chappelle just did a thing, 846. He just did a piece called 846. It's on YouTube and all this stuff. But he said the fact that you think you could do that, put your hands in your pocket, do this, and not feel the wrath of God. So, all of a sudden the best of times is the worst time. It's a amazing time. There was a person that I think Dave said he was talking to a friend of his, and he mentioned about apartheid. He said during apartheid all this stuff was going on, and how did this feel? This kind of feels like that. He was like, there was a point in time where so many people around the world were starting to get involved and companies starting to divest, that it created critical mass. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine who's a poet, Lamar Hill in Baltimore, he had a poem called Critical Mass. But that's what is happening. When so many people it's like the Babylon effect. So many people get involved with one mission, it's unstoppable. They're like, oh, the police are kneeling. Police ain't kneeling because they want to. If everybody in that city is on one accord, there are not enough police, guns, or bullets to stop them from whatever. Look what's going on in Seattle. The police leave the precinct and they take it over. It might not be a good ending, but that's something when everybody, we kind of have a bullheaded commander in chief right now, but we know pride comes before the fall, humility before exaltation.
Of course.
And this is a powerful time, and we need your voice. We need your voice like never before. I'm thankful you exist in such a time as this. You're born in what, 94?
Thank you. Yes, 94.
Yeah, so you're born right in the 90s. I
was a part of a lot of transitions. That's a part of, man. Wow. I thank you. I appreciate that.
No, I'm privileged to have you on. I'm glad I caught you. I want people to get to know, let everybody know how to get in touch with you. I love for them, people watching on YouTube, on IG, they'll find you. But let everybody know how to get in touch with you, because I want them to see what you're doing, hear how you're speaking, and get involved with wherever you can be, especially my brothers and sisters in Atlanta. Make sure you support, go out, find out about Zoe, what he's doing with the young people. March, protest, vote, do all those things.
Yep.
Zoe has a nonprofit dealing with those young people in Atlanta who are not sure what's going on. Get involved. Yeah, find out how you can get involved. So let people know how to get in touch with you.
Oh yeah. So I run majority of everything through my Instagram at Mogul Zoe, and that's I respond to DMs. I'm very
accessible.
I'm here. I'm available. I'm very accessible. So if you ever want to reach out to me or have any questions or need any mentorships or if you want to book me for any of my services, at Mogul Zoe, or at the youth are watching at gmail.com.
What's that?
The youth are watching at gmail.com.
The youth are watching. And all that information will also be in the information in YouTube and then also the IG. So cool. The youth are watching at gmail.com. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to say?
You said what?
What was that?
And all my social media is at Mogul Zoe.
At Mogul Zoe. Yeah, yes. I'll make sure it's in there. Anything you want to say to everybody before you get out of here? Anything you want to give your own flow of motivation? What do you have to say?
The biggest thing is, it's a lot of the election is coming up. My biggest thing is do your research on candidates. Also, with everything going on, I know some people may feel pressured to try to give an answer or their perspective, but take the time that you need to not only heal, but also process what's going on. And if you don't know what's going on, if you just have no idea, admit that you don't know and open yourself up to doing your own research. And yeah, I mean, truthfully, it's not really any motivation to say because we all know what's going on. Just stay encouraged and do your research and vote. And yeah,
I think you just said the most powerful thing. You said at the beginning. You said you've been taking time to heal,
yeah,
and I think it's the most powerful thing you could possibly say, because a lot of us, like you said, we get emotional. We want to react. We want to post. We want to say something. We want to march. But we're doing it hurt. We're doing it from a place of reaction.
yep.
And not Gil Scott Heron was right. The revolution is not televised. It's on this. It was on the phone.
The evolution is on social media.
Yeah. So healing is so important, and finding out healing centers. And we talk about, we're brothers in faith. We talk about faith in Christ, but your healing may come another way, initially. So, take time to heal. And the biggest thing that we learned from quarantine is to make sure your family's healed. Especially our fathers, those fathers out there and strong mothers out there, make sure your family's healed. Because the little kids are seeing all of this. When we're watching the news, they're playing on the floor looking too. So be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And tune into some Zoe. He got some good stuff on his timeline. Check out Mogul Zoe on his timeline.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I appreciate your support over the years. The best is yet to come. I promise this is only the beginning. The next time we talk, it's going to be a whole different headline, a whole different everything. And I look forward to continuing to build, with you. And congratulations on all you've accomplished and everything that God is pushing you towards. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. No, you want, if we can say one to watch, for those that have been watching you, this has been an amazing journey. I'm excited to see what God's doing next. And he got that trumpet behind him. He's an artist.
Oh, yeah, you never know. Right.
He got the trumpet behind him. So if he's going to be spitting, singing, and then pick up the trumpet, it's like, Better Blues Part 2, Spike.
Come on.
I'm here. This, Spike.
I'm here.
Bleak's son. Bleak had a son, Spike.
Right.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you for taking time out. God bless, man.
Indeed. Peace.